Most people can notice when your copy was written by AI because it sounds like AI. Well, I used to have this problem as well. I tried getting AI to help me write my copy faster, but the only thing that it did was like make my conversions worse. But I built a framework to take care of this exact problem, and I'm going to teach you how to use AI to write copy that sounds like human, so you can use that in your next project. So how most people use AI is they just get someone else's page, or let's say someone else's ad, and they send this like as an image or as a link to Claude or maybe ChatGPT, and they just ask it to basically copy it and make the same thing but for their product, but for their brand. And this just doesn't work because you're basically just copying your competitors' messaging, your competitors' angle, and you're trying to use the same thing to create your own page, to create your own your own ad, to create your own advertorial. But again, this won't work because you're basically just a worse version of them with this. But this is not good. And basically in this video, I'm going to teach you how to build a repeatable system that is going to help you actually write your own copy so that you won't seem like your competitors at all. You're going to be able to differentiate from them. And as I said, you're going to get AI to help you to write this copy for you. Now, the thing is that to actually write good copy on your product page, on your ads, whatever, like Claude doesn't know this instantly, right? Claude doesn't know who your buyer is. It doesn't know who is actually going to be seeing your ad. It doesn't understand what this buyer wants, what is going to make them actually purchase from you, what they must see in order to buy from you. And if you just ask it, let's say you go to Claude and you're like create me a product page, right? It's just going to give you like this most generic product page, and it is basically going to give the same thing to everyone that is going to ask you that, right? And then if you are selling one thing and another person is selling like something completely different, you are both going to have the same product details page, and you both are just going to be like generic templates that basically anyone can create from the first time. And this is why like everywhere you're seeing the exact same, let's say, product page, where they have the image, they have the call to action, some points here, they have social proof over here, and then maybe some other things here below. But this is basically the same thing that everyone uses because they are either using the same template, that like the generic Shopify template, or they are just going on AI, they're just going to Claude and asking it, build me a product page for my brand. And it just gives this to basically everyone. But the way that you are going to actually use Claude and the way you're going to use AI, and I'm going to be speaking about Claude specifically here, so you are going to get that AI. You are going to start by creating a Claude project. So this is how that actually looks. So you're going to go, you're going to create it. And basically what this is going to allow you to do is it is going to help you add the things that Claude needs to understand about your project, and everything that you ask it, like anything that you ask it, is going to have this files, this information, this data to basically think about. And then let's say you give it the most simple prompt, you're like, create me a product page, and it is going to basically do it specifically for your brand, specifically for your product, specifically for your customer, because it knows what they need to see, it knows what they want to see, it knows how to make them buy and things like that. So this is why you're going to go, you're going to create a Claude project, and you are going to basically be using this to write your copy. Okay, but what are you actually going to have in this Claude project, right? So first of all, the first file that you are going to attach is your product research. So in this product research, you are going to mention your product benefits, right? So these are going to be benefits of what they get when the problem is basically solved. You are going to mention the benefits of the outcome. So once they actually reach this outcome, what are they actually going to get? How is their life going to change when what you're promising actually happens, right? And then you're going to mention the features, so what your features are, how your product basically works, what's it made of, the material, all of these things. Then you're going to have your USP, so basically why you versus the alternatives in the market. So why you versus your competitors, what is making you different versus them, why should they not just go and buy the cheaper version of this product on Amazon that is probably available. You're going to attach any proof that you have, or maybe any like things to make the person feel safer buying from you. So any clinical studies, maybe if you have any guarantees that you're offering, so maybe like a 30-day back guarantee. Your pricing logic, maybe if that makes sense for your product. And again, you are going to know like specifically what you need to have all for you, because like again, it is different for a lot of products. I can't tell you specifically what to add, but these are, let's say, good places for you to start. Then the next thing that you are going to add here is your ICP research. So these things can be, so basically who your ICP is and what is their current situation that they're in. You're going to you're going to attach their desires and aspirations. You're going to attach the exact words that they're using. So you're going to actually copy and paste this and paste the exact words they're using, so that when AI writes the copy for you, it is going to know what language your ICP is using. So you can learn this from forums, from your reviews, from surveys that you ran, any support tickets if you have, whatever. Their nightmares, so what they're afraid of, the villains, who they blame for their problem, their failed solutions they've already tried, and so on and so on. Like as much info as you can, put it in here. And then the last thing that you're going to want is learnings. So this can be like what you've tried in the past and didn't work. It can be what failed, what won. So basically anything that your AI can learn from, so that it can maybe replicate, maybe it can understand what it shouldn't be doing, or anything like that. So this can be learnings from your ads, learning from your A/B tests that you ran on your store, maybe landing page A/B tests, whatever it is. Attach that information here. And then after you've attached all of these things, you're basically, when you start writing to Claude, the first thing that you want to ask it is to remember all of these things, to go through the files again, to analyze them again, and to remember and to basically understand who it is going to be writing for. And with this, it can give you specific solutions for your product that won't be general. And from all of these things, it is going to help you write specific copy for what you need: ad copy, landing page copy, whatever it is. Okay, but now we're going to move on to the juicy stuff that you're basically here for. So the script, right? What are you actually going to be giving it over here? So the first thing that I want to mention is that I can't really give you my exact script, because like I've paid people to get their scripts. I have written my own that basically took months to develop. But what I'm going to help you do is I'm going to help you come up with your own script that is going to be specific for your product and for your brand and what you're trying to create, right? So the first thing that you're going to want to add here to the prompt is basically going to be, what are you looking from this AI? So basically it's going to, for me, let's say I'm going to tell you like what I would do to write a prompt for a long form sales copy, for a long form landing page. So what I would say is that you are a world-class CRO or a world-class copywriter, right? Because I needed to think like a world-class copywriter and CRO expert, and I don't want it to write like some generic copy for like blogs or whatever. And the next thing that I'm going to tell it is to ask me. So when basically I paste the copy here, it is going to ask me, what is the angle for this landing page? It can be the same thing for your ads, right? So I can tell it like the angle is going to be for a specific pain point. The angle might be for a specific desire from my ICP. It needs to understand this, because like, of course, it's going to be it is going to be a different copy for different angles, right? Then I'm going to tell it like the thing that I actually told you before, like just go through the files again, analyze them again, see what is in there and remember what is in there. And if needed, what you can actually do is just ask it to quickly again go through a couple of Reddit forums and just read the threads over there, and it can see if there's anything new going on. It can again remember who you're talking to, your ICP, and things like that. But this is honestly not necessary. Just make it go through the files again. And then after this, what you can do is go and just attach, like if you're writing, let's say, landing page copy, right? Attach examples of what you want it to go through. So if you have some sort of like store that you want it to go through, like go and attach, let's say, 5 examples, right? Attach stores or landing pages that you like the structure of, the flow of, the psychological triggers that they're using, and all of these things. And you're going to tell it to analyze them and basically remember these things and consider using them. So you're not going to tell it like, oh, like as I said, like what most people do. Basically, you're not going to tell it like, oh, just go and copy this landing page that this guy used and just create the same thing for me. No, you're going to tell it, okay, they have this section, right? And it is going to analyze why does this section come after this one, right? Why is it the second section? Why do they have this headline? Why do they have this copy? And it basically needs to analyze these things, not the whole not the landing page as a whole, but why they're doing what they're doing. The same thing with ads. Okay, this is the ad, this is the image, this is the CTA they used. Like, why did they start with this hook? Why do they have this image? What is the psychological trigger that when someone sees the hook, what do they, or maybe when someone sees the image first and then they read the hook? So what is the like correlation between these things? And that is what you're actually, why you're actually going to attach examples, and you are going to tell again Claude to go through them, to analyze them and see what's going on in there. And then a very important thing that I do here is like adding some psychological triggers. Now, again, I can't tell you like what specifically you do here. Maybe your psychological triggers for your brand are like going to be different from what your ICP wants to see and maybe what my ICP wants to see. But let's say one that I like I love very much is, for example, the gator versus the judge. And this is basically the gator versus the judge, my beautiful drawing. So what the idea behind this psychological principle, for example, and I'm telling you, like, I'd be mentioning all of these things in the copy. So this is one that I have in my script, and I'm telling you, like, audit, I think is going to do very good for you. So I'm telling Claude, like, what is the idea behind the gator and the judge, right? This is basically the same as system 1 versus system 2 thinking. So the gator is basically it is our emotional side of the brain, right? It is who we want to actually sell to. And I am telling Claude that I want this person to always be here, the gator side of the person, not the judge. Because when the gator side is here, when they are reading this copy, they are thinking with their emotional side. When the judge actually awakens and when they read this copy, they're thinking with their logical mind. And us as people, we don't buy with our logical mind, we buy emotionally. So the idea is that I want every single piece of my copy that Claude comes up with to cater to the gator, basically. Because if we don't do that, if we let the logical side of our brain, the judge, basically analyze everything, like, the human is going to get turned off. They are not going to actually want to continue reading because it's causing like too much for their brain, to be active, and they don't want that. They want to buy on instinct, they want to buy based on emotions, and only after they buy should they actually like justify the purchase, and then they're going to analyze logically and things like that. So that is what I tell Claude, like one of the psychological principles, but there are a lot out there. You can look through them and add any that makes sense for you. And also I tell it some things that it shouldn't be doing, like, for example, don't add this m dash, right? Because when you over here, I see that between these two words there's an m dash, that is the long dash. I know that AI wrote it. I also tell it like write like a fifth grader, write very simple and things like that. And then one of the last things, and very important, I go section by section and I explain what I want there to be in every section. So for me, we are writing landing page copy, right? I am going to start off with the hero, and I'm going to tell it that in the hero, I want you to be aware of these things in the headline. So I want you to talk about the pain point in the headline. Then in the sub headline, I want you to talk about the transformation that they're going to go through. Then the CTA is going to be there, and I want an image here. And then in the next section, I am going to start with an emotional story. I want there to be an emotional story of what my ICP has gone through and things like that. And section by section, I'm going to explain what it should keep in mind, and maybe not like specifically follow, but at least keep in mind, so that it doesn't make any mistakes, or so that it doesn't write any like random copy. Same thing for your ad. Let's say you're writing an ad. You're going to tell, like, keep this in mind for the hook. Then you are going to mention the problem. Then you're going to mention the bridge. You're going to mention the gap. You're going to mention the villain. You're going to mention this thing, and then you're going to mention like what actually helps, and whatever, so on. And you see, this is why, again, I can't give you like the specific copy. You need to think of what's going on for your own brand and add things for your own brand. And now, a very big tip coming close to the end of the video is use AI to help you write the prompt for AI. So how does this work? So let's say you listen to me, right? Let's say you're going to write all of these things that I just said. Like, what comes on top of your mind. I'm not telling you now that you need to like spend days. Like, of course, if you do this, if you spend like maybe let's say one weekend coming up with a very good prompt, you're going to have much better results. But if you aren't going to be doing that, then use AI to help you write the prompt, say everything that comes to your mind, and then you're going to go to Claude, you're going to paste it in. Maybe what you can do is just add the transcript of this video, paste it in, and ask it to help you write a better prompt that is going to give you much better results, much more specific results, and results that are going to help you sell more. And it is going to structure all of this much better. It is going to maybe fill in some gaps that you forgot. It is going to help you come up with psychological things that you can add, and etc. And then once you have this, when you use it, when you ask this AI to give you copy for your ad, for your landing page, for your advertorial, whatever it is, don't just copy that and just add it and you're done basically. No, that is why you're sounding robotic. Remember like what I told you before, people just give the advertorial they want, and and AI gives them an answer and they just put it on the page. That is not how this works, because like with that you are not going to sell. What AI gives you, you are going to start with that. You're going to, let's say, add it to a Google Doc and start basically breaking it down and making it sound more like a human, because AI isn't human, right? Yes, it does machine learning and it knows some things, but it can't know like exactly what you want, exactly what you want this to sound like. And what you're going to do is what it gave you, you're going to start editing it. And basically 30% of the job is AI like creating the prompt, AI giving you the prompt, but 70% of the job comes actually after, where you are going to be editing it. You are going to be breaking it down, you're going to be making it sound more like a human. You are going to be adding more things, making it more specific for you. And overall, this is what is going to make you sell more, right? This is what is going to make you, because if you spend time making this good and breaking it down and editing it and just making it much better than what AI gave you, you are going to sell much more. Think about it like this basically, right? AI is the skeleton. Let's say this is the human skeleton, the beautiful human skeleton. AI is giving you the outline of what you should write, but you as the human, you're going to add the organs. Basically, you're going to add the heart and so on, everything like that. Follow AI as the structure, you build the inside of the structure. But if you need, for example, an idea of what the structure of an advertorial looks like, so that you can use this prompt to actually create a very good advertorial, there's a video on the screen right now, you can check it out. But yeah, thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day.